Welcome back. We now continue with Good Morning Kenya, and we pick up from that particular point, but now we get to look at what the papers have for us today. The hashtag we are still using is Good Morning Kenya. Now we start off with the Daily Nation. So many stories featured here, but let me just run you through all of them. We start with this one here at the header: Ruto's big promise to the city youth. In the tour that he was on yesterday in areas within Nairobi, where he did allege a plot to create an imperial presidency. Of course, that would have government control over the three arms of government, something that he urged the people not to be fooled into believing. Of course, he went on to say that his bottom-up economy is the solution to our country's long struggle with certain levels of poverty. He addressed people at several stopovers. One was at Mathare, in Embakasi, and at Kamukunji. And of course, the promises never fail. He did promise to set up a 5 billion annual fund for small-scale businesses within the city, saying that the fund would cushion small traders from predatory lenders. He would also build 20 modern markets in Nairobi to ensure hawkers have a decent space to sell their goods and products. He went on to say that the bottom-up economy would establish a friendly legal and financial regime to ensure small markets and other traders are able to grow. Among many other promises that he did mention, we cannot go all over them at this particular time. But now coming back to the main story here on the front page, Uhuru invites Azimio MPs to election talks, and there are those who are saying that this might be the first open sort of endorsement by Uhuru Kenyatta for Raila Odinga's presidency for 2022. Here they go on to say that President Kenyatta is today set to host lawmakers supporting his handshake deal with Raila Odinga at the State House, a meeting that is expected to give direction on his succession politics. And you also remember a while back, people were saying that he needs to be a bit more active and sort of give direction, given he's leaving office. So which side is he leaning? He needs to be more open with that. The shame of sham hate speech as prosecutions and culprits walk free. This is in regards to the Director of Public Prosecution, Nurdin Haji, who was compelled to urge police to hurriedly arrest politicians spewing hate speech and just show that they're going to be tackling this. But it's no longer a joke. Anyone who is going to be caught in any shape, manner or form spewing hate speech in any manner will be arrested. And of course, they go on to highlight the key players in this fight. Here we have the NCIC chairman, Reverend Samuel Kobia. We have the Inspector General of Police, Hilary Mutyambai. We also have the Attorney General, Paul Kihara Kariuki, and of course the Director of Public Prosecution, Nurdin Haji. And finally, the story concerning the nationwide blackout that has been for the better part of the last 2 days. Now questions are about, was it sabotage or what was it? This is a story that has been covered here on the back page of the Daily Nation, and the DCI has actually launched investigations into this. However, yesterday we did see Kenya Power say that the pylons that collapsed was as a result of vandalism from scrap metal traders within the area. So I'll be giving you the details as per how this story has been covered, because there was also just last month there was also some 4 other towers that collapsed in Longonot that cutting off supply of power from the Lake Turkana wind power plant in Marsabit. Details coming up in a bit. Victor.
You talked about sabotage and vandalism. So which is which? Because it can't be a coincidence that vandalism taking place in the other side of Nairobi, in Embakasi, and part of Longonot. And
it raises questions. I mean, these are key towers.
Yes.
That supply electricity to
the high voltage power lines.
And they say it's because of vandalism from scrap metal dealers, and they actually pointed out especially those from Mukuru Kwanjenga, where they come away chunks of the steel and go sell them to other scrap metal dealers.
I'm questioning the coincidence, all right, but then anyway.
And security. When these things are not banned, and especially given their high voltage.
Jane, I see a lot has happened, and of course, from what you said, there's a story here. But before then, let's look at the headline here. the Standard. It's talking about eye on Uhuru as Natembea begins exit. I saw somewhere people talking about Natembea Atembea. And indeed, he has walked out of his plum government job, and the 50-year-old is now joining politics. And something interesting is that the paper is talking about some of the big names interested in political positions. A lot has been said about people taking sides, but we know CS Charles Keter is harboring political interest, so is CAS Patrick Kolentutu, CAS Lawrence Karanja, PS Hamadi Boga, CAS John Mosonik, CAS Ababu Namwamba, PS Fred Segor, CS Simon Chelugui, CS Ukur Yatani, just to mention a few. Of course, unrest, CS Magoha pledges more approved schools. I believe we have touched that in our news as well. And something else here is village mourns as 2 children killed in family dispute buried. Man is said to have butchered his 2 girls after quarreling with his wife. When he appeared in court, the father said he does not know what caused him to kill the children. Wow, quite tragic. But away from that, taming hate speech, NCIC questions Cheruiyot over racist, insightful remarks in a rally. And people are arguing that some people are talking about people from One Divide when they have been arrested or they have been summoned because of hate speech. They are treated kind of different from the politicians of the other divide. But as we say, 2 wrongs never make 1 right. And NCIC is keen on ensuring that they tame hate speech. Your story, Jane. Yeah, what residents heard and saw when power lines collapsed. I've seen also somebody has sent a message on Facebook talking about, yes, hata sisi kwetu bado hatuna stima.
That's now. The power is not yet back.
Imagine on Facebook sent. But somebody saying, as you said, the sabotage. And KPLC engineers and technicians on the site of Kiambere talking about the pylons have been vandalized. And the question is, how and why? Vicky?
Yeah, we're just questioning the issue of vandalism and coincidence. I mean, anyway, Jen said that DCI has taken up the matter, and let's wait and see what they will come up with after the investigations. On the front page of the Star newspaper, Kalonzo team pushes for poll deal with Raila. Former VP believes that Musalia Mudavadi could abandon One Kenya Alliance during his NDC. This is a discussion that we've had here with several, political analysts who, according to this headline, all the pointers are just coming out to be, what they're supposed to be. I remember some of them said that, One Kenya Alliance was just a matter of time. And they had all the problems of picking the right candidate. But then the story still continues to say that they will be having their meeting very soon. Actually, as we speak, they have got their technical team meeting in Rift Valley to iron out the issues on who is going to be their flag bearer.
But this goes back to when the meeting they had, was it in Naivasha?
Yes.
Where, according to inside sources, say they failed to agree because no one wants to step aside or back the other.
Yeah.
They all want to be, the coalition leaders, because, I mean, they all, at some point...
Who is the boss?
And then now we are also having the Mudavadi factor. So many people looking at Musalia Mudavadi and Kalonzo.
And team is in Naivasha. So let's wait and see. So people close to the former VP says that Saturday meeting in Yatta to propose renewed political friendship, and as well as on the here, hope dims for local man buried in mine 42 days later. This is in Abimbo gold mine in Bondo. The gold mine, this incident happened on 2nd of December last year, and 42 days later, one gentleman, 25-year-old Tom Okwach is still missing, but the family members still believe that he will be found alive. Actually, the mother said that she's basing her belief on the Bible you know, how do you put it, belief that a man can survive for 40 days without food. We, you know, I mean, it's heart-wrenching, having in mind that down there is no oxygen, and they lost contact with the people out there.
And you know, the sad part is the excavation process came to a standstill because the first time they said that the excavator that they were using back then ran out of fuel. Then all the rescue efforts stopped. Now, actually, I think it was on Monday or sometime towards the end of last week, where the father was quoted saying that his family members are now actually telling him to sell off a piece of land, part of their land, an acre, so that they can hire an excavator to continue with the rescue process. Imagine.
It's very sad. You know,
very sad
for the family.
Emergency preparedness.
It's like the
county governments and the politicians and the way they like shining in such a place.
And you know, we have excavators in the counties.
Because that's what was used to rescue this other gentleman, the one that was trapped in for about 96 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, he was with other miners.
And that came from one of the committees. No, it was one of the according to the regional police. I can't remember quite the exact names, but they did say that there was a committee that directed them to get that excavator and make sure that they will not leave there until this guy was rescued.
Yeah.
42 days later. Okay. And in some politics here, elect leaders who will protect resources. Karua tells Kenyans. She says that however, the former Justice Minister remained tight-lipped on who between Deputy President William Ruto and ODM leader Raila Odinga should be elected president. Instead, she criticized the labeling of the presidential contest as a two-horse race, saying that Kenyans must never be boxed into a corner. Politics, politics, politics. And finally, before I continue politics, Nairobians eat huge ugali with a little meat, eggs or milk, according to study. Ben, you're a victim.
Look who's talking.
Ugali, but
look who's talking. Look who is talking.
That is for Victor.
Victor.
Oh Lord.
Ugali na samak. Come on, Vicky.
Ugali na anything.
But we can discuss that after the break.
Ugali kubwa na harufu ya something.
We'll come back with people's daily.
Yes, and according to study, most families in Nairobi and Kiambu do not consume enough animal-based foods such as meat, milk, and eggs, according to a survey. The consumption of pulses, which would offer plant-based protein, is also low. Instead, their diets are heavy on general carbohydrates. Victim number 1, rice, ugali, and chapati.
Those are the 3 main.
Tukule break kwanza.
Mbona wajasema waru?
Tukule break kwanza.
Tukule break kwanza.
Haven't mentioned waru, but
tukule break kwanza. We'll be back to continue with the headlines. Stay with us.
All right. And welcome back. We are still eating Good Morning Kenya. And on that note, let's talk about food. Ben, you are the first victim.
Yes.
So what's your favorite dish? Meat, eggs, or milk? Remember, meat. Ugali ni kubwa hapa.
And lots of it.
What lots of it? Ugali?
Ugali sasa ndio kidogo. We talk about a huge ugali and now the meat should be
more meat, small ugali.
Should be more than the ugali.
Red
kasufu
meat,
kidogo
meat.
And some kasup.
And Steph?
Kasurwa.
I'll go for meat all the way. Any type of meat I will take with rice.
Not ugali?
My preference. No, I prefer rice. But rice with meat. Anytime, any day.
Rice and meat.
Hey,
that thing.
White meat, red meat.
And then you go to bed, sleep soundly, wake up in the morning, full of energy, come to work.
Yes.
You know, I don't understand people who say mchele na spaghetti si chakula kukula usiku.
Men.
Vicky is one of them.
How?
Clearly.
He's just wondering how you can
Not
sleep
pointing
on rice.
fingers.
No.
Not
How?
pointing fingers.
You will wake up at
Yeah,
1 a.m. and prepare some good food. You know, take lunch ya usiku.
You are waiting for yours, Vicky.
Of course, ugali. Chapati, yes, but kidogo. But
Can I shock you guys? I don't do
slaps differently,
chapatis at all. I don't eat chapatis and I don't eat fish.
By choice, Abba.
It's by choice, but chapatis kidogo inakwama kwa tumbo. The whole day you're bloated.
Why?
And I just don't like it for years now.
Okay.
You're killing our tradition.
Chapatis, yeah, I know. But I love githeri.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vicky,
Ugali slaps differently. For Jen, it's obvious.
Viazi and
yeah, Jane,
For Jen, it's obvious.
we speak on your behalf.
They have already established.
Yeah,
We know.
do potatoes start with arroz,
potatoes and
Any day, any time,
floating on soup.
Apparently, it's not in the study, so you're safe. You're safe.
Utachana na waru.
You're safe.
Waru you will never miss.
Anyway.
Hata wengine wakiimport.
you are
Waru is bay.
All right. Steph.
All right, so let's take a look at People's Daily. Much has already been said. They've talked about President Uhuru to host MPs after Ruto's defeat. And this meeting is exclusively to only the pro-handshake leaders. The pro-UDA leaders have not been invited. Also, Natembeya, who will be the first senior official to quit for 2022 politics, that has been said. Another story making the front page is that a Kenyan has been freed from Guantanamo. This is Bajabu, who has been in prison for 15 years after he was arrested and handed over to the U.S. investigators over Kikambala attack. And this was in 2002. The family who are in Mombasa are very elated with the news, especially the sister who says who told People's Daily that she was too excited that she had to take medicine to control her blood pressure. This must have been such great news for the family. Just on a similar note, we have another news on some terror suspects rather. The police have released names of 8 terror suspects and call for vigilance. Some of the names of these suspects have been identified on the People's Daily, so if you want to know them, you can take a look. And then the report indicates that the suspects who are on the run have been behind some of the recent sporadic attacks targeting security personnel and civilians in Lamu County and its environs. So be on alert. If you see any of the suspects, be sure to report to the police. Also, another story making the front page, which is the last one, is that Raila faces stand test over Ukambani vote. This is on page 4, where he has been given an ultimatum. Speaking in Machakos last evening, Governor Alfred Mutua, the Machakos governor, the governor of Makueni, Kivutha Kibwana, and Kitui's governor, Charity Ngilu, asked Raila to state whether he would accommodate his 2-time running mate or they chart the way forward for the community. The governor spoke ahead of Kalonzo's planned Kamba leaders meeting that is to take place at his Yatta home on Saturday. So these are all the stories that have made front page on People's Daily.
Indeed, and looking at the Standard, another interesting story is security officers, leaders caught by surprise as president visits Kisumu. Even the county commissioner was left in the dark as the president moved in to inspect development projects in Mbita in Homa Bay County yesterday. And of course, still related on projects of Uhuru dilemma as half cabinet set to quit to vie for political positions. Natembeya was the first one. Of course, he's proceeding for his leave and then he plunges into politics after so many years. Something also interesting is Ruto woos city voters with 150 billion pledge for startups. We have touched on lots and lots of politics, and the DP was in Nairobi. I remember him, of course, drumming up support for his bottom-up economic model. The battle to control Ukambani vote splits Kalonzo allies and governors there. Kalonzo saying, I will not step down for anyone, while Kivutha Kibwana and Machakos governor, they're talking about they will be announcing exactly which trajectory the region is supposed to be taking in matters of politics. Vicky?
Yeah, talk of politics. And Kalonzo team pushes for Azimio. Want DP posed as more cracks emerge in One Kenya lands. People close to former Vice President say that Saturday meeting to propose renewed political friendship. The story says that people close to him says that they want him to reunite with Raila Odinga. Kalonzo has convened a meeting of Ukambani leaders to decide which political direction he should take as the clock ticks towards the August 9th general election. So that is as far as politics is concerned. Too close to call. Raila Ruto battle for Nairobi's 3 million votes. A December survey showed the DP leading with 32% against ODM leaders 28%. And the big guns have gone flat out for the control of the capital city, which a recent opinion poll by Infotrack indicates is too close to call. So whoever wins Nairobi is seen as having a head start in the race to succeed President Uhuru Kenyatta, according to Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. In 2017 data, Nairobi had 2.3 million voters registered in its 3,378 polling stations. This number, however, went up by 139,560 new voters last year after an enhanced national voter listing exercise by the poll agency. And by the way, so to say, the electoral agency said that another round of voter registration will start on 17th. So if you missed that chance last year, you have another chance to grab your voter's card. It's quite important for you to be counted as a Kenyan. And lastly, Raila Party, Kirauti Party affirms support for Raila Loud's Murithi appointment. The ODM boss was in Meru on Wednesday, that is yesterday, to attend funeral of 7 herders who were killed. On Wednesday, he said that Meru governor and Raila Odinga united at the burial, and the fresh dalliance could end speculations that Kiraitu had changed his mind on his support for Raila, especially after he declared last month that it is his DEP party that will make the final decision. Jen Wamboy.
Right, now let me take you to this piece concerning the education. We all know this is going to be a
crazy
hectic
year.
year. Academically speaking, our kids are set to finish the academic year they're currently in. This is the 3rd term, and then the next class or grade is also supposed to be completed this year, 4 terms. And then next year is when we are expecting to see the first category, the Pioneer CBC class, join junior high. And so many people have been having questions about how that is going to play out. I mean, which high schools are they going to go to? Are they going to be sitting in the same classes with the next year's Form 1s, or how is that going to play out? So that is something that the ministry has been key on ensuring to focus on, to make sure that there will be a smooth transition. And this is especially looking at the numbers that will be moving to secondary school and high school for that matter. And therein comes the conversation of the 10,000 classrooms that the president said were to be constructed by the time we are hitting 2023. And so far, according to the CS for Education, Magoha, the 5,000 target that was set to be completed by April is on track. He has been going all over the country just looking at the progress so far. Yesterday, he was in Nyeri, where he was inspecting the construction going on of some schools there. But they did say they're well on track, looking at the 5,000 classroom deadline that they had set for themselves by April, so that by the close of the year, 10,000 classrooms will have been built, an additional 10,000 classrooms. And also just looking at the number of schools that will be number of schools and classrooms per county, because then they're focusing on the number of schools within each county to accommodate the number of learners within that area. They haven't given all the counties here, but just to sample some of what they have highlighted here, Kisumu is set to get 152 new schools, each getting 1 classroom. In Homa Bay County, 254 classrooms in 240 schools. Kakamega, 597 classrooms in 353 schools. In Vihiga County, 232 classrooms in 137 schools. In Migori, 205 classrooms. In Embu, 158 more classrooms in 151 schools. In Nyeri, they have put 167 classrooms in 168 rather classrooms in 167 schools. So most of these schools are getting an additional classroom. An additional classroom or so, 1 or 2, just depending with the capacity of students in that particular school and the surrounding environs. And then still focusing on education, junior high schools to be classified based on subjects. This is also some more direction when it comes to the transition from primary to junior high under the CBC curricula rather. And here the CS talks of how schools will be categorized. There will be 3 categories of schools under the CBC curriculum. They will be offering 3 pathways for the learners in line with their careers. They will be having arts. They will be having arts and sports science, that is 1 pathway. Then they'll also be having social sciences, and that is the 2nd pathway. And then there will be the STEM, you know, the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Those 3 pathways. And this will also determine the kind of schools that the children will go to, because only those that are boarding and are more established will be offering the 3 pathways, but all other schools that are not as established will be offering the only 2 pathways for this particular student. So that basically goes on to say that only the national schools and extra county schools, 103 of them, will be offering all 3 pathways for our children under the competency-based curriculum. CBC inachanganyisha watu bado. I know we still have a long way to go as parents, but one thing that I can tell you for a fact, as a parent who has a child under CBC, I am in support of it, because let me tell you, during our days, our parents would not be invited to school to be told what we are learning. Parent-teacher meetings were about the performance. Alipata 60% kwa hii, akapata 70% kwa hii, hivyo.
Cumulatively,
average yake ilikuwa hii.
375 out of 500.
But looking at the CBC curricula, let me use my daughter as an example. The school actually invites each grade's parents. They sit us down. They give us the directions that they have been sent to by NEC. They take us through the subjects with the subject teachers. Mwalimu anawambia, this semester we have 9 learning areas. This is the strand, this is the sub-strand. This is how we are doing mathematics these days. Akikwambia ndio hii number line, this is how you're supposed to help them. Literally showing us what they're teaching the kids in class.
Yeah.
And something perhaps to add on that is that a lot of parents have realized that the gap between the private schools and the public schools has been closed by CBC to the point that others want to take their children from private schools back to public schools, because they have even more association on the same. And I cleared high school more than 22 years ago, and I can tell you there's a big shift, paradigm shift, when it comes to education, the way it was for us and the way things are now. Things are far much better, and our kids, I suspect and I believe that they will be far much better people than we are. That is me.
And I can tell you for a fact, my daughter comes and tells me, Mom, let me help you with that. Let me do that for you, Mom. We were taught in school to do this. I want to try it.
Yes. They're more sharp.
Okay.
They're more sharp, and the school helps them recognize their strengths.
It's encouraging.
CBC is changing the entire education system. Everybody is now hands-on. You know,
But it's like the Constitution, Vicky. A lot of people didn't want us to change the Constitution, but they've realized that the new Constitution is far much better than the old. So the same thing is that the CBC is far much better than what we had before, the 844 system. But it's a matter of time.
You know what really happens? I think CBC, in the 844 system, we were told, you remember the art and craft?
Yes.
We never used to do that. You're told, okay, end term, unakuja na kikapu, ama unakuja na whatever it was, and all those things will go to the teachers.
Just to make the rakes.
Yes.
In primary school, even the men, they're called crochets.
You know,
crochets also.
Kushona,
tulikuwa tunashuka nyasi.
Kushona scarf hivyo na buti ya katoto na sikuwa na mtoto hiyo.
Kushona unatumia sugar pepper to practice how to shona nguo, you know, how to hold a needle and hold it. I don't know how.
We also used to do metalwork and woodwork. You remember the rake, eh?
Yes, the joints.
In high school.
The motifs.
Oh, I was in high school.
Then
yes. Making a stool. Sema kugongo na nyundo.
Then ikaisha.
Na hizo ulikuwa unaambiwa nyinyi mnafanya hii, nyinyi mnafanya hii. But let's just see how this CBC will play out. We do hope it is the change academically that we need, and especially for our kids. And they're definitely a different breed.
And Jane, as parents, we should support that. And I know there are some reservations on the CBC, but we should support it.
But I think those reservations came with the fact that we were not really aware of what the CBC was.
Yes.
Because it's new. All these things, because your kids always come home, Mom, I need this for tomorrow for school. But once I'm just speaking from my personal experience. Once we were called to school and they explained to us, whatever we tell you to help your children with is not that we want to tell you. We are following the curriculum that has been given to us by the ministry, and this is what it requires. So this is what, as a parent, you are required to do, as we also do our parts and work together to ensure that, you know, the kid is the one who's benefiting at the end of it all. So I think also schools now have to take it upon themselves to inform the parents what this CBC is about.
Actually, when I had a discussion here last week with the CUPET chair, Secretary Akelomi, he said that, you know, the whole system of the CBC, as a parent, your work is to monitor what the child is doing. But the whole process is left for the teacher to handle, because they are the people who are trained to handle CBC. So as a parent, your work is to monitor, to make sure that your child amemaliza homework, to monitor that everything that he or she is required to do back at home amemaliza, and just to make sure that they are keen on following the entire process, because it's like a network. Child coming back, you know, from school, parent is there or a guardian is there, and the teacher is now taking the almost 99% to guide the pupil. You know, in the good book, even the Israelites were opposed, you know, when they were told, mtoke sasa, you know, they said, you are lying to us.
Change is always difficult.
It's always difficult. You know? Waliambia bana, si atutoki hapa.
Change is hard to take in. Sometimes we prefer the old ways, even if it was not effective. So I think with time, after parents have gained understanding, we'll all embrace CBC.
Absolutely. All right. I think we need to bring to a close ITH on that CBC note. We have so much more lined up for you, so do stay with us. We will be back.